back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are back for another episode of the Real Housewives of Potomac, and this is season 10, and this is episode 13, and let me get the name of the episode up. I got y'all. Uno momento. I'm actually pulling my notes together right now. Let me get that real quick, but before we, hold on. I probably should have waited before I decided to film, but whatever, it's fine. Okay, this episode is called Altitude with Attitude. And before we get into the episode, I don't think I'm going to necessarily go in order because not much really happened this episode, but I am going to talk about the progression of, I would say this, I'm probably going to be talking about Angel a lot because it was a very focused on Angel episode. And you know what? We're just talking now at this point. About time Angel is showing up and clocking in. But it's episode 13. And if it wasn't for the Karen getting out of, jail and the Wendy news, we probably would be really close to wrapping up. I think at this point we maybe have 3 more episodes, but that's because maybe 4 because of some of the stuff being stretched out for in the case of Karen and everything. But not even maybe 4. I would say maybe 6 episodes left. But I think if it wasn't for those 2 things, we wouldn't have that many episodes left. So it's just because I don't think they're going to end this season with them still being in Colorado. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe they would have if it wasn't for, Karen and then, the Wendy stuff. But yeah. Even Wendy in this episode said the same thing too. Like, I'm glad, Angel's finally changing her tune on things, but it's a little too late. And that's kind of how I feel a little bit too, is that a lot of her actions now is what most of us as an audience wanted from her, I don't know, 6 or 7 episodes ago. Like, it's just kind of like everything with her is very delayed when it comes to her reactions and stuff. Like, we were trying to say from day one, Giselle's not your friend. And then also, why did it take the eviction thing for you to get into Ashley? And really, it's not even her. I don't know why it took the eviction thing for her to finally say something. It's been Giselle all along. It's been her the whole time. And I guess the other thing that I kind of am a little annoyed by is instead of apologizing to Wendy and then trying to be nice and, do the right thing with her, you're just doing the right thing with her, but you're not giving her an explanation. So, Wendy's reaction with you and saying, okay, I'm glad she's finally being nice to me and stuff, but it's a little too late. I agree with Wendy because it's kind of out of nowhere. It doesn't really make any sense. I get Wendy comforted you at Monique's event, but Wendy's been trying to, quiet as it's kept until you started poking at her. Wendy was trying to guide you this whole entire time. You just weren't accepting the guidance, to a certain degree. Wendy has made it clear this whole entire season that she's trying to stay neutral when it comes to most things. But she is going to say some shady stuff because, let's be so for real, Wendy wants to be part of the cool girls too when it comes to the Giselle and Ashley of it all. But it's because she's been on the receiving end, like where you're at right now, for a minute. So now that she's no longer on that side of it, she doesn't want to go back to that. And I don't know, it's just one of those things, like if Angel reacted earlier this season, we could have had we could have had her added on to the Wendy and Stacy of it all and it could have been like, Angel. But I think Kay kind of set the whole relationship with Kay and Angel kind of set Angel up for failure. So I will say this episode makes me want to see Angel without Kay next season to see how she really does things. Because I think the Kay of it all held... I mean, we already kind of said this before, but now that we're seeing what we're seeing and what she's giving us, what she gave us this episode, yeah, Kay held her back. Because I think really Angel wanted to say something, but she was trying to keep it cute for the sake of Kay. That's just kind of what I'm thinking when it comes to that. But okay, so let's kind of get into the episode here. And for those who are new here, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Male Nostalgic Runner. And also, too, this is my friendly, amazing cat, who's also always likes to be in the videos and whatnot. So if things go not according to plan, like things fall or whatever, it's usually her, okay? So, like, last time I did a review on camera, she basically made my camera light go out because she just be wanting to just roam about freely, and I be trying to get her to stop like I'm doing right now. See, she's trying to do a lot right now. I'm gonna move her on the other side here because she tries to do a lot. She tries to do a whole lot. But this is Whisper for those who are new. But anyway, without further ado, let's get more into the nooks and crannies of the episode. Again, this won't be too long because not a lot really happened, so let's go on. Okay, so we had a little bit of a montage at the beginning where Wendy's talking to, is at a graduation as a speech, like a graduation. She's a guest speaker at the graduation. Looked like it was a high school graduation. I'm wondering how those are going to go now that we have the news that we have now. Anyway, wasn't, again, part of a montage, but that was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that. And then we see Stacy and her daughter. Stacy, Bella. Shout out to Alexander Rogers. But every time Stacy says, Bella, I just always think of him because he just is like extra about it. But she does say it kind of odd. Like, she does say it a certain way. But it's funny. She's like, Arabella. Shout out to him. It just reminds me of that. Yeah. But anyway, they're in a scene together where she basically finds out that she's ambidextrous. And I kind of am too a little bit. There's random things I do just on my left hand that I just can't do on my right hand. Like swinging, like golf swinging, tennis swinging, sports, pretty much anything that's sports related, I'm lefty. It's weird. But anything that's related to, and even, ironically, even the watch thing. You would think I'm left-handed because I wear my watch on my right. Typically, I don't have it on right now, but I normally wear it on my right. And that's something that someone who's a lefty does. Like, most people who are right-handed will wear the watch on their right so they could do what they need to do here. But that throws me off. It feels weird, so I have it on this side. I don't know. It's just always been a thing. But I feel like a lot of people are a little bit of that. But anyway, that's another part of the montage. And the other part of the montage was that Kay got herself a billboard on the highway. For her spa. So that was a thing. Anyway, let's get into the first actual scene. The first actual scene, we see that Tia with her family and her sister, the one that, she's now building relationship with her half sister, they actually end up visiting Tia's dad's old house. Because we find out that Tia's dad had a house in DC, and that's how she came about to being in this area. And her dad did not like England at all. He was more of a DC guy. And so they go to the house. It's very emotional. Things are pretty much modernized because her dad lived there in the 80s. So we get to see the before and afters with the pictures. And then they get very emotional because in one of the rooms, I think it would have been, I don't know whose room it would have been back in the day when they were living there. Because also, too, side note, this sister, the half sister, this is her seeing all this stuff for the first time. So it's probably extra, like, this is her way of getting closure because she really didn't get to spend time with the dad probably as much as, clearly as much as Tia because, her half sister was the other woman's kids. So, perspective. So the sister's getting closure out of it. Tia's getting closure out of it. Tia admits to like the owners who live there now, like, I've been wanting to stop by, but I just was nervous and scared to do it. And they were just like, by all means, do that. It's not a problem. And the owners were really nice and were very good about it. And also, too, they get emotional because in one of the rooms, bedrooms, there was like a passage of some sort, and it's on her dad's birthday, just happenstance type thing. And so they're very emotional. A lot kind of comes out of this. And one thing I will say that I noticed is Tia's kids. I think Tia's kids know they be acting a fool. And part of me's thinking, do you think those kids are doing that for the camera? Because they're so well behaved when they're with the people that don't know them like that. I'm just saying. So something tells me that those kids, they're just hell on wheels around Tia and like her, and her husband. I don't think they're hell on wheels at all times. It's not giving that they are. They're just very entitled towards like their actual parents. Because they're also there and they're very well behaved. So anyway, moving on. Also, side note, today is finally, I forgot to mention, because I like to small talk before I do these episodes and do the reviews. It is finally going to be somewhat nice outside today, so I'm going to go on a run today. I went on a run Saturday. It actually wasn't that bad, even though it was kind of cold. So I'm finally going to go on a run today, I think. And then the other thing that I'm doing today for the first time in a minute, I'm finally getting a pedicure. I've been needing a pedicure. For those who don't know, clearly I'm a runner. And when you do a lot of distance running, your feet be looking crazy. And so I do pedicures, not necessarily for the pampering of it all, even though clearly as part of a thing. I actually do it mainly for the maintenance of it all. Because the feet can get crazy with the running, especially with calluses and whatnot forming. I am looking forward to getting that taken care of, and I need to remind myself, I'm saying this out loud right now because I need to remind myself to tell the pedicurist that, hey, I'm a runner, because I don't want them to file things all the way down because I need them, because they're going to come right back. But I just need things to be smoothed out, if that makes sense. I know that might have been TMI, but I just thought about it. How sometimes things pop up and I just say it out loud? That's just kind of what just happened just now. Anyway. Moving on. So, what else we're talking about here? Okay. So, Giselle, Ashley, and Wendy, they go out to lunch. They recap the event. And I think what I'm gathering for this season, what has happened, is that we already know Ashley and Giselle are overproducing. But they've been doing that for years. They've been way overproducing. But I think originally, when we were watching this show, I think the way the overproducing would happen in the past is that Karen would be kind of in on it, and then also Robin would have been in on it, and Ashley would have been in on it. This time, I think what we're seeing this season, it's Wendy, Giselle, and Ashley kind of in on it, on the producing of the show. It's just from Wendy's perspective, it doesn't seem as obvious that she's part of it. But I think she is slightly part of it. And because I think, even though I don't think Wendy and Giselle are really cool in real life, I think Giselle and Wendy have one goal in common. They are willing to do whatever for the show to work and for the show to be good. I think they both really care about the show. So I think that's what we're seeing here. So I don't know. I've been trying to put my finger on why it seems like they're getting along. Not because I think, okay, clearly the producers talk to them for them to have to get along, but I think there's more to it. And this is my theory of what the more to it is. It may not be correct, but that's just me throwing ideas out there. It seems like that might be a thing. But anyway, so they're off to lunch. They're recapping what happened at the ponies and the event, the field day event that they had. And we also find out that Monique is going to be having an event, and they're talking about that a little bit. And then they talk about, because Monique is going to be basically promoting her book, and that's really why Monique, I think, is back on the show, because she wants to promote her book and businesses. And also then we also talk more about Angel and her trip and how everyone's just really nervous about that, because no one's really getting along with Angel for real. And Wendy kind of makes it clear, like, I wanted to like her, but she's never given me a chance, so it's making it hard for, I don't know how this is going to go. And Wendy basically makes it known that it seems like it's going to be a shit show. And I don't think she's wrong. And then also in this scene, Wendy does, before she joins the lady, she does talk about how she is still feeling away about what happened between her and her mom and sister and stuff. But she's not going to talk about it to, like, the other ladies. Rightfully so. Because if you're going to talk to it to anyone, it wouldn't be them two. Anyway. So that's kind of what happens there. Moving on. Next, we see Angel, and she's talking on the phone with her sister, and, basically getting her caught up with what happened with her having to abruptly move and go back to Colorado. And then she talks about how she's inviting the ladies, and hopefully things go well. That's kind of really all that happens here. And then I'm going to combine these two scenes because, again, like I said, this episode not much went on. Just more of a conclusion when it came to, Angel. That was kind of what happened here. So then the other thing that happened next scene was Ashley's having a party for her son, Dean, and then her Uncle Lump. And we find out that Sheila's partner finally went to rehab. When I see Ashley sings, I don't understand why she's still in the show. Because she has no personal story. None. I don't care what's going on with Sheila. I don't care. I don't. I don't think anyone else who watches the show cares. And I only somewhat watched the scene so that I could recap what happened, but I literally said what happened in 2 sentences. So what was the point? I really, 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 really hope this is Ashley's last season. I rather see Angel come back than Ashley. Angel, I can give her grace. She's new to the show and she hitched her wagon on the wrong person initially, and being, because she had a personal friendship with Kay, she thought Kay knew what she was doing when it comes to this show, and Kay has no idea what she's doing, and that's what set her up for failure. I think Angel without Kay, especially after watching the remainder of this episode, will be just fine without her. I mean, honestly, Kay was non-existent this episode, really. She didn't even need to be here. And I feel like, other than Ashley being a pot stirrer, you already have Giselle as a pot stirrer. You don't need Ashley there, too. And I really just, for real, want to see Giselle alone trying to deal with these girls. It's giving she can't handle being mean, like nice, nasty alone. She can't do it by herself. She has to have a sidekick. So it's not really doing Giselle any favors that Ashley's still in this show. I'm just saying. Anyway, moving on. So then next, what we have here is that Monique has her event, and it's called a Sip and Read. And so the ladies are all arriving one by one. Ashley arrives first, and Stacy and Wendy arrives next. And then we actually see, for those who ever did watch Love and Marriage DC, Arena and Jamie were there. It was a show. I don't even know if the show's ever coming back on. It's actually the show that Monique basically was like the face of after she left, Real Housewives of Potomac. And it was like it's a Carlos King show on OWN. And there were 2 seasons. And Arena and Jamie were like one of the couples that were on the show. And so when I saw it, I was like, oh, hey! They look familiar. And I realized, oh, okay, that's Arena and Jamie. I'm curious, will they ever... I feel like Arena and Jamie would be great fits. Well, really, Arena will be a great fit for the Real Housewives of Potomac because she already knows. It's clear she already knows a lot of the people there, so I'm wondering if that would ever be a possibility, and she would get paid better. So I've always wondered that. But anyway, so then we also found out in this scene, though, that Monique was also invited to Angel's trip. And how we found out is there was like a brief cut scene that we didn't see with Angel, Jazzy, Monique, and Kay. It looks like they're at like a Soul Cycle situation or some type of gym situation. And we find out, and then after that, all the ladies eventually have arrived. And Monique goes up there and does her reading thing. All the women are kind of giving her shade because she is long-winded and talking in circles. And even, I know she was reading an excerpt from her book, but I was just kind of like, and I believe Stacy and what she said this episode, what she said about it was she enjoyed it, but there was a lot of talk about self. And so, yeah. Do y'all think Monique's any different than she was before? I personally don't really buy it. I think she's different because she's older, but I don't think she's a completely different person, if that makes sense. She probably isn't going to be someone who flies off the handle easy anymore because she's older. I don't think that means she did work to be a different person, though. I think she's just older. I know there's some people who are older who don't do the work and they still fly off the handle easily, but that's not really you getting older. That's you being, I don't know. I don't know what that is. That's not really a good thing or normal, but I guess, I don't know. I still don't buy the Monique changing situation. But anyway, so after she does this reading, then we get into the mess, and she pulls out a binder. The binder isn't as bad. But the thing is, though, Giselle's reaction was a real reaction, though, because she was shook at first. She was like, oh, what? But that's not what the binder was about. So we find out that what the binder was about this time around is that she wants the women to basically write what they think about themselves, and then from there write about what they think about each of the ladies in the group and their tab down. And she has Stacy go first. And Stacy was very classy when it came to what her views are about Giselle. And Giselle still is being a mean girl, and she wrote nothing about Stacy. And Stacy laughs and gives her nothing like she always does. And that kind of ended right away when it comes to the Giselle and Ashley thing. I mean, not Giselle and Ashley, the Giselle and Stacy thing. And that, I guess that's kind of why I'm kind of irritated when it comes to all that, because I noticed in this scene there was a lot moving on too quickly, and Stacy kind of had to step in a little bit in this scene to slow people down. Like, it's like they're trying to get from one thing to the other a little too much for me. Because I really wish they would have expounded on... They need to stay on Giselle longer when it came to this. But they didn't. And then from there, we go what Ashley thinks about Stacey. Ashley says all these nice things about Stacey. Of course, making it seem like she's trying to be cool with Stacey again. And Stacey's like, oh, that was very nice of you, yada, yada, yada. And they kind of move on from that. You know what? I will say this episode, what was missing was there wasn't enough Stacey. And I think that's why I was just kind of underwhelmed when it came to this episode overall. Like, it was okay. But it just... We didn't get enough of Stacey's personality in this episode. We just didn't. We needed more of that. So what else happened here? Ashley then from there goes on and she goes on being messy. She was like, well, I read what Wendy said about Kay. Because they exchanged, so what also happened was after they wrote the things, they exchanged the binders. So they didn't have each other's binders at this point. They had someone else's binder and what they said about this person. And basically Wendy wrote fake for Kay. And Kay was like, my bags are real. And I was like, boo, tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. Like, yeah, that was the only thing that really Kay did. And then Stacey was like, hold on. I want to understand why you feel that way, Wendy. And Wendy expounded. She was like, we were cool until basically the show started. And now we're not cool. And I don't know why we're not cool. To me, that's fake. And then they kind of moved on from that very quickly again. And then Angel reads what she's... I think Wendy was the one who read how Angel feels about Ashley. And it was a good read. She was like, she's petty, she's this, she's that, this, and this, and that. And then... No, it was the other way around. Someone else had... I don't know who had it. I think it was Kay. It was Kay. Yeah, it was Kay. Kay had what Angel had to say about Ashley. And then Wendy did have what Ashley had to say about Angel, but Angel took it and ripped it out of the book. And she was like, yeah, I read this and I'm not accepting it. This is not something I'm willing to accept. And the women are kind of extra puzzled because she is really upset. Like, really, really, really upset. Not really the women. I would say Monique is, like, kind of puzzled. And I ain't gonna hold you. At this point, I'm just kind of like, okay, y'all are gaslighting the hell out of Angel to wonder why she's so upset. Like, Ashley, that whole entire ponies and thing, like wherever that event they had last time, was antagonizing the hell out of Angel unprovoked. Because up until then, Ashley was leaving her alone and there was no issues. And so now you're wondering why Angel feels away. And this is probably the first time we've seen Angel with the group since that event. So in this case, I feel like Angel is valid in feeling the way she's feeling. But what I don't like, though, is that she lets these girls get to her too much. She is like shaking and like visibly really, really mad. And this is where we have Wendy's like, if you know these women, you know this is just what they do. And so it was like, I feel like this was Wendy's moment where she tried to give Angel one more olive branch. She was just like, she basically said to her, you're taking too much to heart about what they have to say. And I'll be honest, I do agree. Because unfortunately, when it comes to Ashley and Giselle, they have said much worse about other people before. And if you can't handle this light work version of what they're saying about you, I don't know. I don't know if you want to be on this show, but at the same time, I'm going to need you to stand up to let them know that you're not the one to be messed with when it comes to, them saying certain things. And at the very end, she finally did something, but Jesus Christ, it shouldn't have taken this many episodes for you to do something. And it shouldn't have been about the eviction where you were this, like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I feel bad for Angel, but at the same time, part of me just feels like she doesn't really need to be on this show. And so, once Monique sees things are getting a little out of hand, she ends the event and she kind of apologizes. And then she goes directly to Angel to console her. And then this is where Monique's like, now, Ashley, you see that this is bothering her. So Ashley gives this weak fake apology about that she's sorry that she used the wrong diction or whatever. She's not sorry. And then Angel accepts it. But does she accept it? We find out clearly she didn't. Moving on. Okay, so lastly, they are on their way to Colorado. Before they're there to Colorado, Stacey actually reaches out to Angel because since they're going to Colorado, and clearly I think a lot of these women maybe have never been, she's trying to give them a heads up, like, hey, drink more water, get yourself together, because the altitude change may bother you, especially if you're someone who doesn't drink a lot of water and stuff. I will say this, as I have been to Colorado before, and there definitely is a difference, but I didn't actually feel that different when it comes to, like, you know what? I'll lie. I only started feeling different when I worked out. So my runs were challenging, but they weren't impossible. Basically made myself run slower. And this is back when I was able to run really fast. I don't run so fast these days. Now I run basically just for my mental health. But when I actually was running a little bit more competitively, I had to slow it down when it comes to running when I was in Colorado, just because there is a difference, and I felt the difference, but I only really felt it when I was running. When I was just walking about, here and about, I didn't feel anything. There was no difference there. I also noticed I got drunk way quicker. And not trying to. I definitely wasn't trying to. It's just one of those things, and they even explained this on this episode, that one drink in Colorado is like two. Until you're used to the altitude change and everything and the lack of oxygen, it's a thing. Anyway. So then, basically, Stacey reaches out to Angel about that, and then the call dropped abruptly, which was kind of weird. I don't know if the call dropped or if she hung up. It was weird. So then, the morning of the trip, all the women are kind of criticizing Angel because they are... Part of the girls' trip is they're supposed to all go on the girls' trip together, even though the women all know that she had to go there ahead of time to get them ready, because it's her thing. But I think they thought, since she's like a wag, and I'm sorry, Angel, you kind of did this to yourself a little bit. They probably assumed that you're going to get things ready and then come back and then fly with them. But she meets them at the airport. And she has rides for them ready to go. And then she specifically chooses for Wendy and Stacey to ride with her, which was very odd and strange because of the fact that Angel has been giving them two the cold shoulders the most, even though them two have not done anything to her. If anything, they've been the nicest to her, outside of Kay. And really, Kay, like, sunned you on TV. So... they have been the nicest to you, really. And so all the other women are in the other individual, like, SUVs to get to where they're going. And child, I see this map later on this episode, which really wasn't telling this episode. She has them driving everywhere. So they're going, like, west of Denver, so towards Aspen. That's where the guest house is that they're staying at. Her house is 2 hours away, which is close to Colorado Springs. I would be pissed. And Giselle and all them thought that they were, and this is one of those things where I'm like, okay, Angel, you're not doing yourself any favors here. Because it was under the impression that they're going to be staying at her house. Especially when Angel and Ashley kind of went back and forth at Monique's event. That was the impression that everyone was under. We, as an audience, kind of figured out she wasn't going to have these women stay at her house. Mainly because of everything that's been happening. It kind of makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, there was a false pretense that a lot of the women, like, they thought they were going to be staying at her house. And ahead of time, she does tell Wendy and Stacy that she's going to have them two share a room. Giselle and Ashley. And so basically they're all there, they're cheersing, so they finally get to this place. They're all freaking out though because there's no like service. And I'm just like, there's not going to be service when you're in the mountains. I don't know where, child, I feel like half these women ain't never been outside. I'm so confused. But maybe because I'm an outdoorsy girl and I'm kind of have a similar alignment when it comes like Angel and the things that she enjoys. Like, I like hiking and all that stuff. So I'm very aware when you do those type of like activities, you're not going to have a lot of good service when it comes to the cell phones of it all. So you basically got to plan accordingly to be able to handle things if things go wrong. It's it's pre-cell phones. You got to know how to take care of yourself pre-cell phones. I know some people in today's day and dates don't know how to do that, but like, I don't know. So anyway, I don't even need this at this point. So at this point, we're just talking. So then after they get to the place, we find out that this is one of the rentals that she has for them to do the business that her and Bobby are part of, which is like that wanderlust thing that they do. And so that is what she has planned for the ladies. And so they're cheersing and everything, and all the women think that they're at her house. We're like, no, you guys are not at my house. And the ladies are like, are we going to your house? She's like, some people are, some people aren't. And then, of course, Giselle has so much to say. It was like, this is a girls' trip, yada, yada, yada. And I, at first, was side-eyeing Giselle when it came to, like, her criticizing her. But then when I found out that her house is 2 hours away from the guest house, then I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I want to be, this is what bothers me about this. I want to be on Angel's side so bad because I see what is happening here, but Angel herself is not doing herself any favors all the way. Because I'm putting myself in the shoes of a Monique. Because Monique is even side-eyeing this. All the women are kind of side-eyeing this because they're just like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And then Giselle immediately goes on to keep saying that she's been evicted. She is still being disrespectful to Angel. Which honestly, when Angel finally got her lick back, I wasn't even mad at it. I thought it was so funny. So fast forward, because they find out that they're not staying at her house, they go on to start picking out the rooms. Everyone has an amazing room. Even Wendy. Wendy actually has the best room of the house. And I don't know if Angel's the type of person where she, instead of apologizing words-wise, her actions are the apology. But for me, if I was Wendy, I would be like, okay, I receive. I still will want an apology. I'm not going to demand it, though. But I'm going to see this and be like, okay, you're trying. You're trying. And I think that's what Wendy is seeing here. She's like, okay, she's trying. And when I say that Wendy's room could have been big enough for it to be Giselle and Ashley's room, and what Giselle and Ashley's room was, dead. I was dead, because we also find out that Tia and Kay are actually staying at her house, while everyone else is staying where they're staying. And Angel, you're going to find out, because I have a theory. I think Tia is going to be the one who does Giselle's dirty work. And if your house is not on point, that's going to be the problem. I think that's what we're going to get next episode. So, but anyway. Ashley and Giselle are pissed. Because they have double beds. 2 double beds in this small room. And when I mean comparison to everyone else's room, they have like, so for example, Stacy has jacuzzi in her room. Like, it's one of those larger rooms with a jacuzzi and everything. And Ashley and Giselle's room to me is the size of this room. That's how bad it was. And they're supposed to be sharing it. And honestly, this day bed that I'm on right now seemed bigger to me than their beds. Because it was a double bed. This is a twin. A double bed is smaller than a twin. So I was like, wow. And I love Monique's reaction. Monique's reaction was sending me. She's like, ah! Because Monique was like, oh, she got her lick back. And Giselle, because she can't take it, she is throwing the whole entire tantrum about the whole entire thing. And she's trying to basically be disrespectful and be mean to Angel about the whole entire situation, because she's trying to play dumb, like, what did I do to you? What did we do to you? And it's like, girl, y'all know what y'all did to her. It wasn't like, and Angel, the confession was like, of course I was being shady. Why would I not be shady? How much crap they've been talking about me? I'm going to be shady. I was like, yeah. And so then from there, they try to be all big and mighty about it, because Giselle's upset because she thinks she's that girl. And at the very end of the episode, Angel's like, okay, what we're not gonna do is y'all ain't coming to my house at all if you think you're gonna bring this negativity that you're displaying right now at my house. And I was like, finally she's speaking up. But this is what's making me nervous about you, Angel. You had to be on your turf to be able to do that? That's weak to me. That's weak behavior. You should be able to stand your own whether you're on your own turf or not. And we'll see, though. But that is how the episode ended. She basically put her foot down, and all the women were shooketh because they weren't expecting that from her. I don't know how or why they weren't expecting it, but yeah. Anyway, that is the end of the episode. What y'all think? Do you think Angel now finally speaking her speech, was it too late? Do you think she's overreacting? Do you think she has every right to act the way she's been acting? I think she does. I think, and the thing is that I don't think she knows everything that they've been saying about her that we saw. I think she probably found out, as we all, the audience, were watching the show. So it kind of makes how this happened validate things more. I just wish it wouldn't have taken her this long. And what do y'all think about her making her big move when it's on her turf? Do you think she should have been able to do that before? Also, too, what do you think about her just all of a sudden now trying to be cool with Stacy and Wendy? Because the thing is, if she was cool with them from the beginning, I think we would feel differently. That's just my thought. I know I would feel differently. Because Honestly, she probably would have felt more empowered to do this before instead of waiting. So I think she just did herself a lot of not good favors this first time around. But she'll learn. I'm at the point now after watching this episode. I do want to see her back for next season. Kay can go. Same with Ashley. I just want a season where Giselle finally gets her comeuppance. And I think now that we see the landscape of this show changing and that how everyone loves them some Stacey, and Stacey to me is looking the way she's going right now. She keeps going. She's going to be the face of the show. They can start phasing. They can stop protecting Giselle as much because the producers protect the hell out of Giselle. But anyway, let me know what y'all think of this episode. Let me know what you think of the review. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And I will see you next time. Bye.